Hi, I'm Simon Young and I'm the Managing Director of Limitless Digital. I've taken a reasonable amount of abuse on LinkedIn this weekend, having put up a policy about mobile phone use. So to give you a bit more insight into what happened, today in the office we had a debate about what that should be, and I hope you enjoy watching it. As everybody knows, I caused a bit of a storm on LinkedIn this weekend with me putting the mobile phone policy on, and quite a lot of people got upset.
I never noticed.
No, you didn't notice, no? No. So we wanted to discuss whether that's fair or not, or whether I'd press-ganged you into signing a mobile policy, or how it all came about in the first place, staring at Flo. But I don't know, I just want your opinions on whether you think it's fair, or whether you think you're addicted to your phones. Are you addicted to your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'll say so. I think we all are, to be honest. Oh yeah, Buzz Line on phone. Yeah.
No, but genuinely, do you think it could be a problem? Or does it get in the way of work?
When you showed that video, the Simon Sinek video, and you asked who's addicted, like everyone put that on the anyway. So everyone is addicted, aren't they?
Yeah, and my point as a manager is we have given you as much freedom as, well, probably more freedom than anybody, because we've got a very relaxed environment, and it had been abused. Will anyone admit to having abused it? Nobody's putting their hand up. No, but we did have
college today.
Right. Oh, she's. But we had a Slack channel that got. I'm sure there's quite a lot of businesses out there that have Slack channels that get overused and stray away from necessarily work. But I don't mind a bit. I'm not a dinosaur. Do you know what I mean? Maybe am I a dinosaur? Huh?
Why am I the only one?
Come on, someone tell me. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that we shouldn't have a mobile phone policy.
I think
or should
the
we?
Slack channels were more of an issue than mobile phones. And I think some comments were correct in saying that if you fight right people, you should trust them to do the job at the end of the day and finish the task regardless. And sort of have faith in them not to just be on the phone all day. I don't think checking a message like for 2 seconds is a big issue, to be honest. And I think the part where it said you can't even have it in your pockets with just OTT.
So yeah, I don't mind you having it in your pocket, to be fair. But my problem comes is if you've got it on your desk in front of you and you're concentrating on something, and then that goes bing, and you go, it takes you away from what you're doing. It breaks your pattern of thought. So you tell me whether you agree with that.
Yeah, does a bit.
And the point is,
depends
right,
when you pick the phone up though.
as somebody who runs a business, so everybody in this room, all of your jobs rely on the business doing well. Agreed?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're a team and we all have to rely on everybody in the room. So the point is, if there's a Slack channel or messaging or personal social or anything like that going on, it's taking time out of your days, which hurts everybody. So from my point of view, maybe as the office dinosaur, it just takes you away from your work, and you're not hurting me, you're hurting your colleagues, or you have the potential not to do your work, right? And there's lots of jobs, like to come back on that, there's a lot of people that have commented on that thread that says a lot of jobs you wouldn't be allowed a phone at all, whatsoever. So I get the fact, yes, we can use our phones for research, but you've got your PCs to do that, or you've got your laptops to do that. And to say about the trust thing, if I didn't trust you, you wouldn't work here. So I get the fact that I've been in jobs where, oh yeah, I'll just jump on and order those couple of tickets that I'm trying to get for that gig or whatever, right? That's abusing the employer to some extent and abusing that is breaking trust. That is, yeah, it doesn't feel like a lot, but when you start multiplying it by 15, 20 people, it's actually quite a lot then, from my perspective.
Someone said about someone said on that thread about paying bills as well, like, oh, we all need to pay bills as well, we'll pay your bills, like, outside of work, like, who wants to pay bills in work? Yeah, that was one of the comments about paying bills.
Someone was paying their bills?
On their phone.
Right.
Like, they need it to pay bills, like, why are you paying bills during work hours?
But I'm sat here feeling like I've made some sort of human rights violation.
No.
Well, I am, you know, I've got, there's what, at the moment, 900 comments on that thread, and probably at least 750 of them are directed at me, calling me things like bellend, dictator, archaic, Nazi, what else? You know, like, do I deserve that? Should I have that? I don't think that's actually people that are looking at that thread going, they don't even know me. They don't know our business. They don't know how relaxed it is in here and how much freedom everybody's got. And if I sit here and say, yeah, please don't use your phones during the day, that's fine. I'm quite happy with that. But what happens, so you tell me, when I say that, and then you see one of your colleagues getting their phone out and doing a bit of texting, what do you then think to yourself? Well, I'm behaving myself, why aren't they doing it? And then it suddenly becomes all right for everybody to do it. And the whole point is, and my point that I was trying to get across with the mobile phone policy with on LinkedIn is people, one, they judge you before they know you, and two, they don't know, you know, they're not looking at the bigger picture in society where your generation, and yeah, I'll label you youngsters, you know, I'm getting abuse for calling people youngsters. You should be labelled colleagues apparently, but I'm not allowed to refer to you as youngsters anymore. Maybe I'll use the freedom of my surname being young, and I'm making you part of my clan. You are young, you are youngsters. You know, that's how I came up with that maybe. But the generational thing, and if you watch the Simon Sinek video, which we all did before Christmas, he says it's not your fault. It's not your fault. You've never known anything different but to have a phone in your hand. But, well, you tell me if you know, you've all agreed in some fashion to have a mobile phone policy. It's what that ends up as. And the point was, the policy as it stands there that went on LinkedIn was a bit of a joke. Because when people started pushing back, I just started making it worse and worse. And that's teaching people negotiation. So there has to be, it's like, I don't want to liken it to Brexit, but Brexit, the negotiation, it goes backwards and forwards, and it then necessarily, you've got to have compromise. So is the compromise, see, the actual compromise should be, I trust you, we trust each other not to take the piss when you're at work, but what happens then when one person steps out of line, or two people step out of line, or a Slack channel gets created and people start chatting about all sorts of stuff that's nothing to do with work. So like, for example, the classic example was the old Slack channel, 12:30 is lunchtime, 12 o'clock, where are we all going for lunch? And then it starts banging around the office and everyone's putting ideas in. Well, nobody's working at that point. But it's also breaking your concentration. So I'm not bothered about the half an hour that it wastes for one person. I'm bothered about the half an hour it wastes for 20 people. That's the point. And that hurts all of you, not just, it's not about me, it's about all of you. So, you tell me I'm fair or I'm not fair, or whether I am a bellend, or a Nazi, or maybe I'm just running a business trying to help a lot of people with their careers. I don't know. It's actually upset me. It really has upset me.
Doesn't show.
No?
Firstly, having worked in lots of different places, this place is not draconian. It's not unfair. I think when it's your first job, even your second job, you don't know that until the passage of time, what places are like, so you can compare. But trust me, this is about as relaxed as you will find. It really is. And in terms of fairness, I know none of us are perfect. I'm not perfect, Sam's not perfect, none of us are. But compared to a lot of bosses as well, I've seen some proper Hitlers, if we want to get into it, compared to this guy. He's soft. So, also the other thing is as well, the fact that you even took 2 hours out of a working day for everybody to sit and watch that video and have a debate before any policy was put in place actually demonstrates that you do have a say, that it is important what you think, it is important that trust is earned both ways, and I think the reason why it's probably really miffed Simon is people are commenting from afar without knowing anything, because that's what happens on social media. And there's another big lesson there, because it's really easy for us all to comment on stuff without really knowing the facts, because then, well, what are the facts? So it has opened up a real big can of worms in lots of different ways. But I would say also, you should be grateful that we should be able to have these debates, because in some agencies, in a lot of workplaces, we wouldn't be given a choice.
But in uploading that, you'd expect that, obviously, not everybody on that comment knows about how we work in Limitless, so in time uploading that, you should expect that there'll be people commenting like that.
Yeah.
So
no, it
made more sense for you just not to upload it in the first place, and then
right now that's a good point.
That not caused you problems.
No. That's a really good point. So when there's an issue, should I bury my head in the sand? Should you in life do
it's
that?
It's like a family matter, though, isn't it? You should keep it within us, not take it to other people who have an opinion but don't know the situation.
But there's a lesson. Yeah, but the bigger lesson here is, so we're probably particularly quite a young company, right, in general, and there's going to be a lot more companies suffer what we've just experienced. There will be a lot of people going into the workforce and losing their jobs or getting warnings and things like that because they just can't get off their mobile.
It's a big learning curve for everybody.
It's spreading through the whole of society. I'm guilty of it.
Yeah,
You've admitted to being guilty of it. Everyone is getting more and more addicted. Have anyone else got anything they want to add?
I think for me personally, anyway, in terms of like phones, it comes down to self-policing, really. If you can, switch on and think to yourself, right, I'm at work now, I can only use this for certain things, then it should be fine to go to that on desk, whereas obviously, I can agree with parts of the policy, but at the same time, you should have just built.
So I wouldn't have modified the conference in Gavin replying to a text, as long as I knew we got his job done by end of day on the deadline. Do you know what I mean? And it obviously wasn't sat there on it all day, because that does obviously take the piss for all of us.
Actually, as you're growing and developing through your careers, actually one day you'll be faced with a problem that's probably similar to this but with a different thing. You might be running a department of 30 creative people and they're all on a mobile phone and you're going absolutely berserk like Simon's just done, and you're going to be faced with decisions, Joel, that you're going to have to make, and you'll probably go, right, okay guys, what we're going to do about this. So part of what's happened here is it's a massive learning curve for us all in helping each other. Just common sense and sensible, and trust is two ways. It's got to be two ways. If we trust you lot, you've got to trust back.
Maybe I'm wrong, but if you're interrupted in a creative process, you can't tell me that you would achieve as good a results if you didn't have that interruption. Your quality of work would be better. You tell me. That is absolute fact.
I've lost so many ideas by being interrupted.
How many times?
I'll wake up and mobile phones on that case, is it? It can just be simple conversation or someone
could be. That's fine.
So
that's fine.
You could put that in.
Right, but we're using mobiles as an example.
Yeah.
We're just using that as a. If you're working away, and that goes bing. You can't tell me you're not tempted to look at it.
No, of course
you should just the noise. It's like Pavlov's dogs. You know what Pavlov's dogs are? He fed dogs on the sound of a bell, and then there was no food there, and then you ring the bell, and the dogs are still salivating. They know that that's the signal for the food. Well, this is just the beep or the buzz or whatever is the signal to get distracted from what you're doing to, oh, I must have a look at what that is. Because people, like Simon Sinek says, people are deriving joy and satisfaction from the number of likes and comments they're getting and the interaction, and why hasn't my friend responded for 30 minutes, starting to get worried about that, like, that's the problem.
It's instant.
Instant gratification off of that device. And if you can honestly tell me that being distracted in any way from a creative process, and that's what we do, is the hub of our business is creative, the interruption is a problem. And if you can tell me you can do as good a work being interrupted every 5 minutes, well, I don't think you can.
No, you shouldn't be looking,
honestly,
you shouldn't be looking at every 5 minutes though, should you? But what if it's like once every hour or something? It's not as big as a deal, is it? But
what I'm saying is, I get that.
Yeah.
But the minute that you start doing it every hour, that's fine. Every hour becomes every half an hour, becomes every 15 minutes, and before you know it, becomes every 5 minutes. And that's addiction. That is an addiction pattern.
I just
And
don't
that
think
is
you need to check it during work though. Like, what is so important during work that you need to check your phone? Like, if it's a Snapchat or a text or whatever, it's not that important.
Well,
You
you
can't
do
wait
that.
until lunch or...
we all do that. We've all done that. We've all been sat there and just gone, oh yeah, Instagram, whatever, like middle of
That's
it.
a
You've
really
done
bad
it, you've done it,
habit
you've
to
done it,
have.
you've done it, you've done it, everyone's done it.
Yeah.
I haven't.
It's because you don't give a shit.
You're a different breed.
Just hate the world and everything, innit?
So the crux of it is, if you can tell me you can do better work being interrupted, crack on.
Well, you obviously can't.
No. So therefore we have a mobile phone policy, as in phones in pockets, or you can have them on the desk turned over the wrong way up. But let's not be checking messages all the time and responding to Slack channels and checking Insta and all of that.
Can I just go around the room and ask a quick question?
Yes.
How do you want to do your mobile phone? Do you want to put it in your bag or your pocket or on your desk?
Definitely.
Right, Florence, what do you want?
You see what I mean? Though, 'cause
Do you want to keep it in your pocket, in your bag? Just hold on.
Listen a sec.
Do you want to put it in your pocket, in your bag, on the desk, or out the way totally?
I'm usually tempted to check it if it's next to me.
So you
Even
would
if
rather?
it's on do not disturb,
So-
I'd rather just put it like in my bag. And just like right in my bag.
Pocket. That's in the pocket.
Yeah, it's irrelevant. So what's coming out here is, if whether it's in your pocket or your bag, it's what suits you for out of mind. That's what they're saying. If Joel's confident enough that he can have it in his pocket, and Florence would rather it not be in a pocket and in a bag, because she'll feel it by. That's that trust of self-policing. But if you bollock it up, that's when. But actually, that's when you lot then should be helping manage it, not us.
Oh god, that's dangerous.
Well, but here's the rub. This is what I'm trying to throw back at Joel in a really positive way. In 20 years' time, when you're running a department, part of how any agency, as a young agency, evolves and grows and develops, is when you also take responsibilities in lots of ways, whether that's management, directorships, running departments, making these kind of decisions. 5-10 years' time, we ain't going to be here probably, so it'll be you lot that'll be running it, and you'll be kicking somebody else's asses in a positive way. So maybe you lot need to police it.
So I hope you've taken the time to watch all the way through. I think there was a reasonable debate between the youngsters here in the office, if we're allowed to call them that. The salient point that came out of it, I think, is the fact that in a creative environment, it's very difficult for people to concentrate if they are distracted by their phones. You know, it was an interesting conversation. It is a policy that the employees put in place themselves, and they agreed it, and they're happy. You know, we're not a draconian dictatorship or prison camp, or I'm not a Nazi, as was put in some of the comments. So I hope, you know, I'll welcome your feedback if you've watched this all the way through.